Hey, about once a week I'm on the road traveling throughout Louisiana, speaking to various groups, talking about the books I've written, and really reconnecting to a lot of old friends and places I've been over the 28 years I was in public life and all the things I had a chance to do. One of my favorite haunts throughout South Louisiana is Crawfish Town, USA, located in Henderson, Louisiana. If you come from Baton Rouge, you come over I-10, it's the first exit just before you get into the Lafayette area. Crawfish Town's got quite a colorful past, and if you come in this big old barn of a restaurant, you find all kinds of interesting things here. It's the political haunt, if you will, for politicians over many, many years. You'll see photographs of all former governors and statewide officials and local officials that cover the walls of this restaurant. They also have chairs. They have chairs with a lot of notorious politicians on the various chairs that people sit on the back of the chair. I got one back right here next to me. You can't probably see it, but it's one of the Louisiana's most notorious politicians over the years. Happens to be named Jim Brown when he was Commissioner of Insurance. So they have my chair here. Every time I come to Crawfish Town, I always sit down and eat in my chair. I've got some fond memories of some really interesting things that happened over here at Crawfish Town. I was here one night with my wife and a number of friends. We'd driven over from Baton Rouge just to get some good boiled crawfish. And it was during the 1991 election, that a highly controversial election where the runoff involved Edwin Edwards and David Duke. I was running for the first time as insurance commissioner during that session. And so Duke was in the runoff with Edwin Edwards. It was a knockdown barn burner that was being watched not just in Louisiana, not just in America, but all over the world. What was happening in Louisiana was being observed. Well, I was sitting here with my friends. At the time, LSU football coach Mike Archer was with us and his wife, and we were visiting about just normal things. A lot of folks recognized me and came up and visited. David Duke comes in, and short time later, Edwin Edwards comes in. They sit at different tables. I think Duke got up and went over to Edwards, and they visited for a while. Every eye in the place, as you can imagine, was on the two of them since they were in this nationwide knockdown, drag-out election. Then Duke sat down, and I kept watching people go over to Duke and shake his hand and hand him $10, $50, $100 bills. He had to raise $4,000 or $5,000 while I'm sitting there eating my crawfish. Same with Edwin Edwards. He was at the other side of the room. People came up and shook his hand, handed him money, and it was really bizarre and really a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle of the old-time Louisiana politics, with the money changing hands, with so many things going on, the eyes of the entire restaurant on these two characters. So that's one of my most memorable stories of coming over here to Crawfish Town, and I just thought I'd share that with you today. Crawfish, that we're here in July. Crawfish season is about over for those of you that watch my blog and keep an eye on what I'm talking about all over the country and throughout the world. 90% of all the crawfish that are taken in Louisiana are eaten right here. It's a real luxury. You can get 6 crawfish on a platter as an appetizer in a New York restaurant for $25, I think the last time I checked. There's huge demand for crawfish, but we want to eat them right here in Louisiana. There's a growing market and a lot of marketing in terms of more production, but right now we consume a lot. Season starts around the first of the year. There are some pond-raised crawfish you can eat all year round, but the real season fine crawfish come from about April into July, really the 1st of July. We just missed that season, so I had crawfish crawfish etouffee for lunch today, and that made my meal. So I share those with you. A nice spot in Henderson. It's just off the interstate. It's one of several locations here, by the way. Pat's is also in Henderson. I've known Pat Duval Huval for many, many years. His wife has a separate restaurant. They split up. They've got 2 restaurants over here. Deandra Welch is a great place further on to the next exit that I stop at from time to time. So I'm a real regular at the Crawfish Festival in Breaux Bridge and so many of the great events that take place over here. I'm on my way, by the way, to a Zydeco concert tonight, so maybe I can give you a little bit more about that later on. Hey, glad you tuned in and watched, and I hope you have a chance to try some great crawfish in South Louisiana.